Melvick Primary School acknowledges the traditional owners of country throughout Australia and their continuing connection to land, culture and community. We pay our respects to elders past and present. Tonight, Melvick Primary acknowledges the traditional owners of the country on which we meet and recognise their continual custodianship of the land, past, present and future.
Please welcome the Principal of Melvick Primary School, Miss Kira-Shae Locke.
Thank you and good evening everyone. Myself and the teaching staff at Melvick Primary School believe humanities is a fundamental part to the Australian curriculum. We acknowledge the misconceptions regarding our Australian history. We believe in creating awareness for the truth for our future generations and realise the misinformed teachings of the past. Some key ideas that we are focusing on in Year 3 is building their knowledge to be able to think and see the world critically and be informed citizens of the society.
Good evening, I'm Miss Rebecca Reeves and I believe the learning and study of humanities is an opportunity to discuss and create a safe and inclusive school environment. Here at Melvick Primary, we pride ourselves on our engaging learning programs where we provide opportunities for students to work in collaboration with their peers. We aim to provide the foundations of building the students' knowledge of diversity, and we use our students' backgrounds as one of the influences and key elements in planning a unit of work.
Good evening, my name is Miss Tammie Kay. Through our humanities teaching practices at our school, we want to reconcile the culture, traditions and beliefs of the first inhabitants of the land on which we stand.
Good evening, I'm Mrs. Jodie Portelli. In the curriculum, there are 3 priorities. Throughout the humanities unit, we focus on these 3 priorities as they are embedded into our lessons. The main priorities are developing knowledge, understanding and skills relating to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander histories and cultures, Asia and Australia's engagement with Asia, or sustainability.
As educators, we need to specifically support the learning of our Indigenous students and that we build and promote an environment of respect and understanding of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander culture in our classrooms. We accept the pain and suffering inflicted on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and place great importance on educating our students about our history because they will shape the future of our nation. As teachers, we need to promote Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultural awareness in our classrooms. And VIT, the Victorian Institute of Teaching, has provided us with the modules to do so.
The Respect, Relationships and Reconciliation, or the 3Rs project, is a government-funded initiative to help teachers address the AITSL 1.4 and 2.4 standards. The project has 3 modules for teachers and pre-service teachers to follow. The modules are Knowing Yourself, Knowing Your Students and Knowing What to Teach. When planning the unit of work, we reflected on our values and beliefs and how these would influence what we teach. The focus of our unit is to educate students and for students to respect the Indigenous people of our country by teaching them about their history and cultural traditions. At the same time, the unit allows students to express their own identity through taking the idea of possum skin cloaks and students creating a quilt that represents them. Before teaching this unit of work, we as educators need to know the content and the common misconceptions or ideas students might be coming into the classroom with about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We need to have all the information to be able to educate and inform our students of all the facts. We address the cross-curriculum priority area of learning about Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander history, culture and traditions through our different areas of focus in humanities and in the unit. We celebrate Indigenous culture and history through looking at traditional musical instruments and possum skin cloaks.
Thank you, Tammie. In humanities education at Melvick Primary School, we pride ourselves on the valuable teaching and learning experiences that we provide to our students. There are many pedagogies and theories that inspire our teaching practices. These theories include, but are not limited to, inclusive practices, inquiry-based learning, engagement, and multiple intelligences. My Year 3 teaching team colleague Jodie and I will take you through these approaches and how we implement them into our classroom. Inquiry-based learning is an essential part of our humanities learning in Grade 3. Inquiry-based learning is a tool to promote students' curiosity, imagination and investigation around an essential question or topic. In humanities this term, we have had a unit focus of Indigenous and Torres Strait Islander people, in particular possum skin cloaks. This inquiry-based learning topic allowed students to investigate, create and explore the way in which Indigenous people use possum skin cloaks and the meaning behind it. We promoted this inquiry unit through an interactive excursion to Bunjalaka, a creative hands-on art lesson that allowed students to create their own patchwork quilt, piece to represent their lives and an overall student-focused unit of work. We promote inclusive practices within our classrooms and school through providing supportive learning environments and embracing differences. We ensure all students feel welcome and safe in the classroom through positive language, classroom displays, promotion of bringing individuals' backgrounds and experiences to share in the classroom, and setting school rules.
Thank you, Meaghan. The importance of engagement is something that is valued here at Melvick Primary School. Our students in Year 3 in the Humanities subject are introduced to the different curriculum topics in a way that is engaging and interesting to them. The way we sometimes introduce a topic is with a video or game, as this allows our students to step away from the traditional ways of teaching. This is something that we find engages our students. Therefore, at this school, we have teachers who know how to engage and help students learn successfully. In the Year 3 Humanities team, we believe it is important that students have an opportunity to learn in ways that best suits them. We acknowledge that our students are unique individuals and therefore they grasp the content in humanities in different ways. In the Year 3 Humanities classrooms, students have the option to use laptops, iPads, hands-on, or any other form of tools in order to complete their work. Our teachers always aim to differentiate the lessons in order to cater for a wide range of
Lessons are arranged to take the students on a learning journey where they will have opportunities to research, investigate, question, evaluate, and reflect. This will ensure each student reaches their own conclusions and is able to develop a deeper conceptual understanding. The lessons are hands-on and provide positive learning experiences for all the students. Now we'll have a look at, in the classroom, the learning tasks. These are lessons from previous years. For example, we were learning about Anzac Day and the Australian resources. Here the students are looking at where we celebrate and commemorate in Australia, looking at Australia Day, Anzac Day and the National Sorry Day. Throughout the unit we will have an understanding of the way that the world works and what we can as individuals make a change. We are building positive relationships and learning about the world's views and religions in a safe and respectful environment. Here the students were learning about the personal histories and talking about memories in their family history, their family trees, and discussing and comparing objects of the past and present. At the Humanities unit, there is a focus on our own identities and our identities within our cultures. Here we are looking at the location of Australia and their neighbouring countries and the diverse characteristics of their places, where students can also compare their own identities within the Australian identities. Here the students were looking at clip arts and colouring in pictures of different stereotypes and cultural identities. Throughout the unit, students will have opportunities to have excursions and incursions, which will be an opportunity for them to engage with the content that they're learning in the classroom. Excursion and incursions will also coincide with the learning of the curriculum. So for our first excursion, we go to Bunjalaka in Melbourne Museum, where the students are able to experience and observe everything to do with what they're learning in the classroom. Incursions are another great way to get the students outside of the classroom into another learning environment. The Gold Rush workshop is presented by Jan Wozicki and is an interactive day for all of our students. The workshop coincides with the curriculum and relates directly to the students' learning activities. After the incursion, students will have an opportunity for discussing and reflecting on the day and sharing what they learned. In history, students will be questioning and researching. This will be done during a number of lessons and through the excursion to Bunjalaka, where we look at how the Indigenous people lived and how this has changed over time. In geography, students will be analysing, evaluating and reflecting when we look at the Indigenous Australian languages map. This will illustrate to the students the diversity of Aboriginal people and their culture. In civics and citizenship, it will allow students to communicate their ideas, findings and conclusions. Students will investigate the inclusivity and values such as respect, civility, equity, justice and responsibility in relation to Torres Strait Islander people and their identities. Students will draw conclusions from the 1850s Gold Rush workshop during our incursion and then create mini projects using computers for researching and presenting their work. Business and economics students will learn how to make decisions and take actions that will shape their future and contribute to the development of our nation.
Throughout the learning unit, we have focused on various learning tasks and games to engage the students. Examples of this include scavenger hunt, Pac-Man and memory games. The scavenger hunt is linking to geography. In small groups, students will be required to follow directions and maps to reach different destinations around the school and record the characteristics of the different locations. In Pac-Man and Memory, these games can be adapted to any area of study. It provides students with a fun and engaging activity while learning and reflecting, practicing retention and drawing conclusions on their learning areas. There are 3 types of assessments that Meaghan Primary School use to inform us of the students' individual achievements. They are assessment for, of and as. Assessment for learning allows teachers to monitor the progress of all students throughout the learning process. This will help inform the teachers to make adjustments to their future lessons. Teachers can give the students a short quiz at the start of each lesson to recap on the previous lesson. And at the end of each lesson, get students to give 3 things that they have learnt or have found interesting throughout the lesson. Assessment of learning provides students, parents, carers and teachers information on the students' achievements. It is a snapshot of what the students have learnt and the activities they have done. This provides information for formal assessments such as reports and end-of-unit tests. The key assessment for Humanities will be planning, creating, presenting a possum skin cloak, which will be influenced by the Bunjalaka excursion. Students will present their cloak to parents, teachers, and showcase their individual identities and culture throughout. This showcases and celebrates the achievements for all students and provides an insight to what they are learning throughout Year 3. Assessment as learning encourages students to provide feedback to their peers as well as reflect on their own learning. This will help students develop a sense of ownership for their own learning. This can then be seen throughout the Year 3 cohorts using students-friendly rubrics, checklists and verbal feedback, while also questioning their peers. Other ways that we can celebrate the students' work is giving them an opportunity to present to their class, share their work and reflect. Students are encouraged to ask questions and give feedback to each other. Students' work will also be displayed around the classroom and school for other teachers, students and their parents to see.
The 3-4 team, I would like to thank you all for attending tonight and allowing us to showcase our wonderful Humanities unit here at Meaghan Primary School.
And thank you to the whole school community for your participation and support with our students' learning. I would like to also thank the 3-4 teaching team for preparing this presentation.